Adam Baldwin for aflplayers.com.au. I'm joined by the founding father of the VFL/AFL Players Association, Geoff Pryor. Geoff, everyone has mentioned you in their words tonight. Are you a Pied Piper?
Well, no. I'm sometimes a follower and sometimes a leader, because what I really wanted to get across is that you've got to have the right time and the right group of people working together. And that's the most powerful. So the myth of the Pied Piper is that there's one person who leads the way. Well, sometimes you can play a right tune and everybody comes together. And that's what I think has happened.
Well, how do you garner such collective support from, a group of people, I guess, who, might have strong opinions themselves, and I guess there were a lot of outside influences at the time as well?
I think that's a very good question. If there was an easy answer, we wouldn't have to worry about it, would we? But the answer, I think, really is about hard work and basically the merit of what you're trying to say. I think it's really important also that you're trying to talk about people's interests, but in such a way that it transcends their own individual personal concerns to see how they relate to a bigger issue. And that's what I think has been the feature of tonight. I'm really inspired by tonight. I've heard some wonderful stories that have actually been told by the other guys. I have a feeling that this message ought to be much broader for an Australian audience, because it's about the way in which you live. It's about the type of society. Now, you're playing football and you think, well, I've got to focus on the football, I've got to train, I've got to do all these other things. But these people tonight have portrayed a really great image of the way in which we can live. So the Players Association has done a fantastic job in that.
We've spoken a lot tonight about the challenges that you had to overcome, and there were a couple of stalled attempts to start a players' union or a players' association. Was there a certain point when you thought, look, finally we've made it, finally we've got currency in the football and the social world, I guess?
Sadly, I don't think I ever lost sight of that particular view that we weren't going to get there. Perhaps I should have been more sensitive to those issues. No, we knew that we were up against a pretty tough set of circumstances. We knew that we would have to cross different challenges, but I don't think personally I ever felt that we wouldn't get there, and tonight's proven the point, hasn't it?
Well, I guess the players, the way they communicate today and the way they interact is quite different. Twitter and social media is one of those. How do you think you would have been benefited by something like Twitter back in 1973?
Well, I actually have been discussing the use of social media, and I do that in my own work. I am actually very keen that the Players Association utilise these tools, but perhaps in a slightly different way. So, for example, there's a great deal of discussion more broadly that the Players Association can access. Twitter is a great vehicle for doing that. Using blogs is another great vehicle for doing that. Facebook and YouTube, those sorts of vehicles, they're part of today's world. So how do you take advantage of that? If we'd have had it in those days, people wouldn't have understood what it was all about. But I also think the power of these tools is slowly evolving. So even those who have become quite good at doing that have yet to actually learn the full power. I believe the Players Association is actually quite up with all of that, and it seems to me from what I've heard tonight that they're going to take it much further.
Is there a modern day player that you see a bit of Geoff Pryor in?
Heaven helps to say that. Well, I actually can't say that I could nominate a particular person. I see sort of elements because the game is so different. And for example, if you look at the packs that we had in our day, and you don't see that really today. If you look at the pure skill of kicking, well, you certainly didn't see that in our day, so I couldn't actually translate that model to today. But I also am interested very much in the tackling side of things. I always thought of myself as a reasonably good person to tackle players, and I see that I could have learned a lot from them. But when I look around the players, they're all doing it. And I learnt tonight that there's some training from the other codes that are important. So quick answer to the question is I'm not sure, and I'm not sure that's to their benefit. It should be to their benefit, really, that they're not, given the time of change that we've gone through.
Excellent. Well, thanks for your time.
Good on you.